What are you doing here, honey? You're not even old enough to know how bad life gets.
Obviously, Doctor. You've never been a 13-year-old girl.
The human brain.
It's a real pleasure to be invited here this evening to tell you a bit about our research on the teenage brain.
There's something really special about the teenage brain.
Here's the thing, though, about 18-year-olds, they're idiots.
So adolescence is defined as the period of life that starts with the biological, hormonal, physical changes of puberty and ends at the age at which an individual attains a stable, independent role in society. It can go on a long time.
Jan, that is so adolescent. We are adolescents.
We don't have to flaunt it.
Increasing evidence suggests that there is something much bigger at work that's making teenagers so teenagery. Their brains.
How does the teenage brain make decisions?
The limbic system, and it's involved in things like emotion processing and reward processing.
The teenage brain is really responsive to rewards and emotions when making decisions.
The regions within the limbic system have been found to be hypersensitive to the rewarding feeling of risk-taking in adolescence. We know that adolescents have a tendency to take risks. They do. They take more risks than children or adults.
Want to go to a party with some good people looking to have a good time?
Don't take drugs! Don't take drugs!
And at the very same time, the prefrontal cortex, which you can see in blue in the slide here, which stops us taking excessive risks, is still very much in development in adolescence.
I am a golden god!
There's certainly a lot of evidence that the prefrontal cortex functions like the conductor in an orchestra, and that it maintains harmony and it makes music out of many, many disparate elements of this orchestration.
The prefrontal cortex is the last to be hooked up and shaped.
Up until the mid-20s.
And it's involved in a whole range of high-level cognitive functions, things like
Self-control, controlling yourself, stopping yourself doing something silly or saying something inappropriate.
So if you're from Africa, why are you white? Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people why they're white.
Problem solving, multitasking, decision making.
This is what you've been saving up this whole time. Saving it up. I'm just saying, open your eyes and be clear on what you're doing. I don't want you to make the mistakes I made.
Compared to children and adults, the teenage brain is really good at seeking out new experiences, enjoying thrills, and seeking out risks.
I found the cure to growing older, and you're the only place that feels like home. Ow!
All of these processes and many more are processes that heavily rely on prefrontal cortex. Self-awareness and social interaction.
So if you have a teenage son or a daughter and you sometimes think they have problems taking other people's perspectives, you're right, they do.
The ability to take someone else's perspective in order to guide ongoing behavior in this kind of communication context is still developing at this relatively late stage in life.
I know I sound like a really bad typical teenager when I say something along the lines of, "No one understands me," but this is literally just a list I compiled of things that parents don't get.
A group of scientists at the McLean Hospital in Massachusetts once hooked up a group of adults and a group of teens to MRI devices and then asked them to identify a series of expressions on photographs of adult faces. Interestingly, while adults correctly identified one expression as fear, the teenagers thought the faces showed anger, surprise, or shock. And you can imagine what happens when concern is misjudged as anger or worry as disappointment.
You're in trouble.
Hey, I'm in big trouble. We go into Buzzkill Town.
We're leaving.
I'm not going, I'm eating.
Hey, you're coming with me right now. You've got 2 minutes to come to the car.
It's not even enough time for oysters. Come on.
I moved you back here and I didn't want to come here. here.
Is that what this is about?
No, it's one thing if you're miserable, it's another thing if you bring us all down with you.
Adults use the reasonable prefrontal cortex, while the teens mostly use the gut reaction emotional amygdala, located farther back in the brain.
Come on, Dad, let me go, please.
That's it, Mal. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
That's not fair.
I don't have to be fair. I'm the dad, and I'm not letting you go.
Why are you treating me like such a baby?
Because you're acting like one.
But Dad!
No, Miley. Not another word.
Fine. How about 3? I hate you.
It's also really good at recognizing social or being sensitive to social and emotional information.
They tend to react quickly from the emotional part of their brain without running those reactions by the more rational frontal cortex. When the emotional amygdala and the more rational cortex aren't fully hooked up yet, that can make it hard for teenagers to productively work through emotions. This is why teenagers seem to experience frequent mood swings.
Why are you so grumpy? Emotional instability. You look at the eyes, the dots on them, and they're everywhere.
Just because you live in here doesn't give you the right to be a pain in the ass, so knock it off!
It's a free country. He's just doing it to get a rise out of you. Just ignore him.
Go to hell! Enough! Hey! What's going on in there?
Pricks.
We sometimes laugh about teenagers. They're parodied, sometimes even demonized in the media for their kind of typical teenage behavior. They take risks, they're sometimes moody, they're very self-conscious. So what's sometimes seen as the problem with adolescents, heightened risk-taking, poor impulse control, self-consciousness, shouldn't be stigmatized. It actually reflects changes in the brain that provide an excellent opportunity for education and social development. Thank you.